Hey, it's Drew Coover. You know, I'm in my 29th year of sobriety, thanks to 12-step program. Okay, boss, it's your turn. So, I want you to go back to when you were 16. How old are you today?
47.
I want you to go back to when you're 16. I want you to think about this. What have you ever thought in your life when you were 16 that you'd be 47 years old, in and out of different treatment centers, trying to get sober, sitting on the street in front of a Safeway asking for spare change because you were on a safe supply medication, trying desperately to stay sober and improve the quality of your life with no supports?
No.
Where did you think you'd be?
I'd have a job, family, house, car, just have my shit together, just live
Yeah.
my normal life.
When's the last time you had your shit together, bro? When's the last time you had a regular job and you were just a regular dude doing regular things?
17 years ago when I lived in
17 years.
Saskatchewan.
17 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
So you've struggled with
I was
addiction
clean
for a
while.
long
I was
time.
clean for a while, yeah. I've been struggling for years.
So what's the biggest problem you've had when you get sober? What's the biggest problem you've had staying sober?
I just don't think I deserve a good life.
I want to go back to the meetings. This is really blowing me away that they're shutting down churches, which is where all the 12-step programs usually are. What do you think of this? Like, where do you get your supports? When you were sober at certain times, where were the best supports you got?
Churches.
Church
meetings.
With AA meetings?
AA meeting, 12-step meetings, yeah, for
Because
sure.
those are the only places. Do these doctors actually hear you when you tell them your experiences?
I don't think so.
Is it probably because it's just my assumption that they've never been there so they don't know?
Yeah.
Could it be that they're reading books and their books are telling them what drugs that you should take as a result of being on
Yeah.
those certain drugs?
Yeah.
You know, over the past year, I've been talking to people who are living in hardship due to their addiction. Whether it's drugs or alcohol, it doesn't matter. What we're seeing now is a crisis that is a direct result of the pandemic that started in 2019 and the F trade that has been growing since 2016 and the left government that treats addiction as though it's a mental health disorder, caring for people's feelings more than they care for the person themselves. The real issue here is how our mental health and medical systems have stopped treating addiction as a disease. Instead, they've started to call it a mental health disorder. What we've lost in doing that is understanding that addiction is a spiritual at its core. When we give someone Suboxone for pain medication problem, or naltrexone for alcohol problem, or methadone for a heroin issue, we're not addressing the real cause. We're just treating the symptoms. We're replacing one drug with another, but that doesn't fix anything. I've been working the addiction field for almost 3 decades, which means I've been doing it for 60% of my life. I'm only 52, but I got a lot of experience and knowledge to share. Over the past 8 months, I've been taking a closer, more serious look at homelessness, drug addiction, SROs, and government policies. And the more I look, the more I see how wrong the government is getting it. I've been interviewing people for over a year now who are victims of these policies. These are the people who are being failed by society and the government, and they need help. Addiction is not a mental health disorder. It's a spiritual malady. One of the most disturbing things I've seen is the way people who are addicted are being housed. They put them all in these buildings, these SROs, and then offer no real treatment resources or support. Worse, these buildings are often full of drug dealers, creating a toxic environment. These are not recovery spaces. They're drug dens, where people are trapped in the cycle of addiction without any hope of getting better. How can we expect people to heal when they're living in a place that just enables their addiction? We need to change this, and the first step is providing real treatment, not just putting people in these dangerous, overcrowded spaces. I took a couple weeks off because I did get jumped downtown, and the guy bit my finger, almost bit it off. I cut my nail off. Check that out. Yeah. So this is the deal, yo. There's people out there and they need help. I was going down to get my greens, to make my green smoothie, and lo and behold, I walked into a couple that got kicked out of, where was it? The Hotel California. Hotel California for all those old folks, or as known as the Artira. It's an Artira women's shelter. Hi friends, so I'm here, it's the beginning of April, and I'd like to introduce you to
Dominic?
Mana?
Dominic and Mana. So they were sitting on a cardboard box asking people for support to get some food because they're homeless today. They're homeless as a result of being kicked out of the Hojo. How do you feel about someone telling you have a mental illness?
I do have a mental illness.
You do?
I believe I do have a mental illness, yeah. I struggle with day-to-day tasks. I struggle with my focus. I struggle with... It's been since I was a kid. I've had depression and anxiety since I was a child.
Since you were a young one.
So it's carried on throughout the years. And I use because it makes me feel normal. That's all. That's why
You use because it makes you feel normal.
makes me feel normal, yeah.
Do you-
Without it, I actually really struggle.
Do you think one day you're going to get sober completely?
I think so. I think I can do it.
You think you can do it?
I have plans on going to treatment.
When's
We're
the
gonna do
last
it.
time you were actually sober for like a month straight without
was-
taking anything? How old were you? Like,
I was 27 and I was living at home with my parents. I was sober 1 year.
wow, did you go to 12-step meetings?
No,
You did go, you just did it on your own.
I did it with the support of my parents,
Your family.
my family. Yeah,
Ah.
they're very supportive when I'm clean.
Where's your family today?
North Vancouver.
So do you talk to them often?
Talk to my dad. Yeah.
You talk to your dad.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
happy that you
Yeah,
talk to
he's
your
very
dad.
supportive. He's very supportive. He's
That's-
just not supportive of the drugs at all.
Yeah.
And when it comes to drugs, every time I talk to him, he says you have to stop using. If you
We
want to
need-
have a normal life, you have to stop.
We need more dads out there like your dad. What's his name?
Thank you, Ali.
Ali. Do you have anything to say to him?
I love him.
You love
I love my dad.
You love him, man. Tell me, what do you think about this changing of the language? You're a bit older, so you've been around a little bit longer than your
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Yeah,
What do you think about this? How long you've been struggling with addiction for a long time?
long time.
Long time. Have you ever gone to meetings before?
Yeah, I've graduated detox.
You went to
Treatment,
have you gone to a
recovery-
treatment place before?
Recovery. I've done Joshua House, UGM.
Wow.
But this time I'm done. Like when I go to treatment, this time I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It's gonna kill me.
So, how do you a couple get sober together today? Can you go into a treatment place together?
Yeah.
We want
That's
to
what
go
we're gonna do.
together.
That's what we're
Can
gonna do.
you?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
know
we
of any?
can. We
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
My doctor is gonna help us to go together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know that it's very difficult to get into a treatment center where they don't use drugs or
Yeah.
they don't give like. So here's a question for you.
What do you mean, like?
When you go to treatment, are you going to continue taking
Methadone? No, fuck that. No.
So how are you going to get off it?
I'm just gonna cold turkey.
Are you going to wean down? Or are
Yeah.
you just going to
Just
try
gonna
to cold
stop.
turkey it?
Cold turkey. I've done it before.
He stopped using meth a month ago. He
Cold
stopped
turkey.
cold turkey.
Yeah.
He stopped
So,
cold turkey.
so here's the problem with that. He's really not sober because he's doing methadone, right? But what the greatest thing I think about, and please correct me if I'm wrong. What the greatest thing I think about is safe supply is that the people that are really willing to get onto one medication through the pharmaceutical companies, this is a positive thing.
Yeah.
Because you definitely are making
Yeah.
a choice. You want to get this done,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Can I give you an example of the
Please.
medication that they're giving me? They're giving me a shot of an antipsychotic that actually dulls me down. It actually makes me even less focused. If they would prescribe Dexedrine or something that I could focus better and be more organized, then it would help me a lot more better. But they won't put me on it because I'm using.
They won't give you Dexedrine.
Because I'm using. Yeah, they won't give it to me.
But Dexedrine's an upper.
I know, but it helps with focus.
It helped you
it's
before.
It's much better than methamphetamine.
Okay, so here's a question. Your experience,
On
have
the
you taken this
street.
before?
I've taken it before, yeah.
And it helped you.
It helped me, yeah.
And you've expressed this to the doctors, and they won't help you.
well,
They won't take your word for it.
Well, now because of the whole like moving out in the apartment thing, I got another diagnosis, which I don't believe is true. I believe I have mental health, but I believe I have like ADHD, depression, and anxiety. And
100%. You
Yeah.
both do.
Yeah.
I think, guess what? Guess what? If I can, I think 80% of the Canadian population suffers from anxiety and depression.
yeah,
Whether they're drinking wine at night or
Yeah.
going to the gym to try to
You're right.
regulate their synaptics upstairs, like everyone's fucked up.
you're right.
We all be fucked up. We all be fucked up. Everyone's fucked up in a certain way, right? Like we
Yeah.
all have our own problems,
Yeah.
but it's an unfortunate situation with this stuff that's just killing people.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucking
It's
crazy.
just killing
So
people.
many people that are
So many
that I've seen
people.
that I knew, like the people
It's
just
so many
disappeared.
less
They're there
people
one year,
around.
next
It
they're
disappeared.
gone.
Yeah, it's just
Disappeared.
gone.
It's just fucked.
My ex, he died 3 years ago from fentanyl.
Were you there with him?
I was not there with him, but
Died by himself.
he died
from
by
drinking
himself
vodka
in
and
his
drinking
room. They
fentanyl.
found him in his room, and he passed away. And he was a really good guy.
What are you gonna do to get sober?
I'm gonna go to treatment
Why do you want to get sober?
because I want to have a life. I want to be with my. I want to have a relationship with my family. I want to have a better relationship with my partner. I don't want to be scrambling over money and be.
Okay, last questions. What's the government doing to help you?
No,
That's funny, hey?
I don't know.
What's the government doing to divert your interests to get sober?
There's just the waiting list to go to treatments are so long and everything, and it's just it's tough.
It's
hard.
housing is really hard.
The
to
housing
get
thing
too.
is the main
Housing
thing,
is the
too.
main thing. If we had
Housing's actually not the main thing. There's a
know.
lot of places that are empty. You guys know that, right? Like
Yeah,
there's
there's
lots of
not many.
condos, there's lots of spaces throughout BC.
we can't afford it though.
There you go. You can't afford it because the government jacked up. They allowed the people to come into our country and jack all the prices up of
Yeah.
all the buildings, and therefore it puts everyone, a lot of people that are like working individuals with children
Yeah.
have rented or bought a motorhome and now are living in a motorhome while he or she can go to work and send the kids to school. This is the way we're living. What do you think has to change?
I think that people need to work together, and that the government needs to be more compassionate of everybody, and that we're all equal. People need to realize that.
100%.
Yeah, more compassion. I agree.
Okay, watch this. I want you to go back to when you were 16 years old. I want you to think about this. Would have you ever thought at 32 years old you'd find yourself outside of a Safeway asking people, not begging, but asking people walking by for some money so that you can A, get some more medication that you need, which is the street drugs, or B, get some food? Would
No,
have you ever
I
thought
would
that?
have never thought that.
Never.
No, I wouldn't
Where-
have imagined that. I had plans on going
growing up
college
in
after high
growing up
school.
in BC, what did you think your life was going to be like when you were in your 30s?
I'm not sure, but I didn't think that it would be like this.
Yeah.
I never would have imagined this to be sitting outside asking for change.
Never.